land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna.
Beautiful day out here in Kamalota village. We're here to do our daily devotion. The sign of Jonah. This is tied in with the 3 days and 3 nights because the Bible tells us that Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights. That kills the Good Friday death of Jesus Christ. It kills it. Because if you come from Saturday evening backwards, you will never get 3 days and 3 nights. Never. And we know that when they went there early Sunday morning, he was already risen. So we know that because the Bible tells us that, and from that you come backwards and you see where you end up. It says here in Matthew chapter 12 from verse 38, it said, "Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, 'Teacher, we want to see a miraculous sign from you.'" That has not changed. People go to church and people want to see miracles. People want to see us laying hand on people, praying. The person is missing a hand or a part of their hand or their foot, that it grows back. That if they have cancer, it just jump out. That if they're blind, a new eye come. People want to see those things. And when those things start to happen, then they will start to frequent the church because they will figure that, well, yeah, the pastor, powerful pastor or whatever the case might be. But you must remember that everybody have their own gifting. Sometimes you're seeing the gift being used and you're not even aware that you're seeing a miracle before your very eyes. It says, he answered, "A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a miraculous sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." These people were there. That sign was given and they still did not realize it. That sign was given on the death of Jesus Christ, the day that he died and the day that he resurrected. That's the sign, because he resurrected. The Bible says that if there was no resurrection, we who are Christians would be pitiful fools. We'd be pitiful fools. But there was a resurrection. So people saw or knew about the crucifixion and the resurrection. Those are public spectacle. And Jesus Christ was not crucified in private. He was crucified publicly. So the one greater than Jonah came to you all and preached to you. You do not listen. And then they talk about Jonah preaching to those people, and that the people listen to Jonah. He said it's going to be a condemnation for you. It says, "For they repented at the preaching of Jonah." And now one greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it. For she came from the end of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now one greater than Solomon is here. So he gives a second example, and he talks about the queen that went to speak with Solomon about his wisdom, his God-given wisdom. That these things happen and brought people close to God as a consequence of those things that happened. These people made the effort because they wanted it. Today, the word of God goes out and people don't want it. That is strange. That is strange. I encourage everybody to put your heart to the wheel and make the word of God priority in your life. That you get to know what the word of God is saying. That is important. So many people miss out on life and salvation because they don't put an emphasis on the things of God. We are caught up about everything else. You know, if we had interest in Jesus Christ like we had in Buddha, a lot of things would change on this earth. The story of Buddha is the story right now among believers. Everybody's talking about that. If everybody would try to figure out Jesus Christ and go to the scriptures that gives us information who he is and what he was supposed to do, this world would be a better place.
Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Blessed Gardens is servicing home gardens across the country from the nation's capital and helping Belizeans reconnect with nature. We have everything you need for your home garden, so get growing. We have various types of soils: fortified soil, composted soil, potting soil, and pure compost for your garden. We have quality seeds and over 65 varieties of food seedlings for your garden. We even have organic insecticides available, EM soil treatment, and Polishade for your excessive sun or rain. Blessed Gardens has all your garden solution in one location. Call 610-5679. Visit us at the Bumapan Market Plaza or enjoy our free deliveries across the country. Blessed Gardens. Get growing, Belize.
Mopping, tiles, furniture, and...
Miss, you don't need all of this, man. Only this you need. You make 4 out of this. And it's cheaper than all of them put together.
I want it.
Green Clean. All your cleaning needs in one bottle.
I'm coming back to your heart.
Foundations. Your work must be grounded upon solid rock, and so should your faith. Join Pastor Louis Wade Jr. weekly for Foundations Bible Study, where he goes deep into the Word of God with biblical teachings for better understanding.
A person might have potential inside of them, a desire to fulfill something, but the word of the Lord can bring that out of a person. Amen? So in the case of Gideon, though he felt that he could not do it, God had designated for him to do it. And so when God spoke the word through the angel, Gideon became who God knew he was all along.
Tune in on Plus TV Sundays for a new program or catch the repeats. We would love to hear from you. Write in and share your thoughts, prayer requests, or even pose questions you may have regarding the Bible passages. Foundations. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain.
When working with sheetrock, you need screws that give you quick penetration for a speedy, stable installation. Best Screws, fast frame and fast finish drywall screws are specifically designed for you. Engineered by Best Manufacturing, Best Screws makes every job faster and easier. These screws offer reliable performance with a superior hold. You also save money due to Best Screws affordability. They are cheaper than the leading brands. Get the job done quickly without compromising on strength. For all your drywall installations, get Best Screws Fast Frame and Fast Finish. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Belize City, get ready for a safe and reliable e-taxi experience like never before. Building on the success of our e-ride bus service, we've heard your feedback, Belize City. We've seen your enthusiasm and how eagerly you've embraced zero-emission transportation in our community. Introducing the e-ride taxi, an electric taxi service, bringing you a cleaner, greener way to travel around our beautiful city. As part of the transformative Belize City e-ride program, this new service is another step toward modernizing our transportation system for a sustainable future. Looking to book your first e-ride taxi? It's super easy. First, download the Medriva app and register. Then, book your ride. Insert your pickup and drop-off location. Select e-ride, choose the number of occupants, and pick your preferred payment method. Confirm your ride and track your e-ride in real time as it makes its way to you. It's fast, eco-friendly, and designed for your comfort. So don't wait. Download Medriva today and let's drive Belize City towards a brighter, greener future, one e-ride at a time. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Pletz Home Builders is the largest house building company in Belize. Pletz combines the best skilled workers, high-grade materials, and the latest technology to produce the highest quality wooden residential structures. Request any size, color, and the home layout you want. Choose from hardwood or painted metal outer walls. Pletz can modify any of their existing house plans to your satisfaction, complete with all the installation services you need anywhere in the country, including ambergris key. They can also lift your house to your desired height up to 9 feet. From properly treated and cured lumber to quality sidings and floorings, let Pletz Home Builders give your home the finish you need. For prices or questions, call 823-0398 or go to www.pletzhomebuilders.com. Pletz Home Builders, we build to suit your needs.
Oh, I wasn't having a bad day. I just needed...
It's here, the biggest sale of the year. Find your happy place at Builders Hardware with our happy sale from October 15th to December 31st. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, we got unbeatable prices that will put a big smile on your face. Freshen up your walls with 20% off all paints and 25% off paint supplies. Upgrade your space with 25% off lights, fans, AC, and a wide selection of tiles to match your style. Plus, enjoy 30 to 50% off selective items. But that's not all. We also sell sand and gravel, blocks, roofing, and more. Find everything you need from construction start to finish. Don't miss out on our happy deals. Shop today or explore our online store at shopbuildersbz.com. Visit Builders Hardware in Belmopan. This is your happy place.
It is truly an honor to join everyone here today for the final forum of the Engaging Men and Boys to Advance Gender Equality and Help Prevent Gender-Based Violence project.
And so I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the office of this special envoy in including males in this conversation of domestic violence. because often we know that this has been a taboo subject. We don't want to discuss it publicly, but I think that with the work that is going on through the Office of the Special Envoy, we have to debate it, we have to give it the public discourse that it so requires.
We are here because we must confront hard truths. Domestic violence is rampant in our communities, and it must end. Attitudes can change, that cultural traditions that are harmful can change. We don't have to stick to them because they were passed on to us.
Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off Mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Blessed Gardens is servicing home gardens across the country from the nation's capital and helping Belizeans reconnect with nature. We have everything you need for your home garden, so get growing. We have various types of soils: fortified soil, composted soil, potting soil, and pure compost for your garden. We have quality seeds and over 65 varieties of food seedlings for your garden. We even have organic insecticides available, EM soil treatment, and Polishade for your excessive sun or rain. Blessed Gardens has all your garden solution in one location. Call 610-5679. Visit us at the Bumapan Market Plaza or enjoy our free deliveries across the country. Blessed Gardens. Get growing, Belize.
So when me face God, you know something. When I think of the love of the Lord.
Spice up your next event with professional lighting. Call 610-5679 and give your audience an experience they'll never forget. Proper stage lighting ensures stage visibility, motivates and sets the mood of the atmosphere. We provide services for weddings, concerts, parties, dance recitals, and much more. Captivate your audience. Improve your production today. Call Shamax Productions at 610-5679 for quality and professional stage lighting.
I can't feel to see it.
Do you enjoy learning and wanting to know more about Christ your Savior? Then join Phil Sanders in Search of the Lord's Ways. every Sunday 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on PlusTV for half an hour of beautiful hymns and Bible messages. Messages are repeated on Tuesdays at 1:30 and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Search in the Word for God's will. Know more and do more for the God we love. In Search of the Lord's Ways with Phil Sanders is being brought to you by the Church of Christ in your area. Be sure to visit.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize.
Good morning, Belize, and welcome to Rise and Shine. It's a Friday morning, and it's the 21st, wow, of November. Where has the year gone? One good thing about that is that we are closing in on the hurricane season, June to November. So within the next week, hopefully, prayerfully, we will have a hurricane-free, at least from Belize, year. But we still need to continue remembering our neighbors, brothers and sisters that were hit very badly, very hard by the hurricane in Jamaica, Haiti, and so forth. But it's a blessing that we as a nation could celebrate this goodness. We just get over the great celebration of a Garifuna Settlement Day. And so together with the rest of our nation, you know, we all says big up to our Garifuna brothers and sisters. And from here, we move on now to another season. Now, this morning, we want to talk about some very important topics, and we kind of running a little late on time. And so I will be with, I will have a guest this morning. I will be your host alone. It will be a lone ride this morning. Me one, I'm Santi Valencia, that by the way, that will be your host this morning, and hopefully you join us, because it's going to be some very interesting topics that we will be talking about. So we want to ensure that we get in enough information to you that will definitely help in as we develop this nation. Because, you know, remember when we talk about building of the nation, we got to be conscious, we got to be deliberate. And like I said so many times here in this show, we used to say when Mr. Price used to talk about building of the nation, and the ladies, they go on and touch the next one that is pregnant, touch the tummy and say, girl, I see to build your nation. No, we are not a nation of baby machines per se, you know. No, we're building our nation in a deliberate way, in a structured manner. We talk about sustainable development. It's huge. It's a big part of building a nation, and consistency and continuity. And one of the things I always talk about is we look at the loggers, and we always see trees. They go, the whole trees, they pass my highways, going to some sawmill. And then my question in that would be, wow, so much trees they go up on a truck, I wonder how much have been replanted. Because the way I think, and I live this way, if I cut down one tree, I make sure I try plant at least between 3 to 5. I call that sustainable development. So really, in truth, is our forestry departments and our Ministry of Agriculture should maybe take a deeper look into these things and follow through that insists that we are replanting, because that's a part of sustainable development, and that's a part of building our nation. And with that said, this morning we want to jump right into into our discussion about what's going on in Belize today and what's some of the plan and the nuts and bolts of building the nation with proper strong foundation. Because if you build, even the Bible, Jesus, well, I can't say even, especially the Bible, where Jesus says, if we build on sand, shake down, we have to have some solid foundation. And so to discuss some of these solid foundation in building of our nation, we have our guest with us this morning, and she's no stranger to this set. I think she's been here before, and I've been here before with hers is Madam President. We do have another guest on the Zoom.
On the Zoom, that's right. I am here. Carolyn Sandiford, of course.
Yes.
I've been here before.
That's right.
But that's quite a while back, so I need to say that I'm very delighted.
But I want to say welcome back.
Be here. Thank you so very much. And perhaps with Senator Lewis Wade now in the Senate, I may be back more.
Absolutely. But, we hope so,
yes.
right?
But yes, I'm here, like I said, and we have on Zoom, where we'll be connected also to another guest, Eilish Elliott, who's a program officer from ParlAmericas. So today we're here to talk about the Young Woman in Leadership parliamentary program that we have launched. We launched it on November the 12th. It's a program...
2023, right? Was it? Is that right?
2025.
2025. No,
yes.
2023 one started off. Is it Y Will?
Yes, it's C Will. So Y Will is an element of C Will, but it's the young woman.
Right.
So C Will is a Caribbean leadership institute.
Right.
So I wanted to say first of all that the Y Will program in Belize, it's a collaboration between the Women's Parliamentary Caucus of the National Assembly. You may recall that there is a Women's Parliamentary Caucus. It's a standing committee of the National Assembly, and it was formed to respond to the need to have a collaborative forum for all women parliamentarians.
Right.
And it's a place where, notwithstanding party affiliation or which chamber you serve, it is to facilitate networking. It's to foster productive dialogue on issues and that affect women and issues, things like women's rights, women empowerment, gender equality, and so on. So it's a collaboration then between the Women's Parliamentary Caucus. It's a collaboration with the Youth Department of Belize, because if you notice, it says the Young Woman in Leadership.
Yes.
It's a collaboration with ParlAmericas, whom Elliott is she's a program officer for ParlAmericas. But Belize is a subscriptive member of several organizations that bring together issues that deals with parliamentary matters, and ParlAmericas is one such organization where Belize is a subscriptive member, and they deal with parliamentary network and addressing relevant parliamentary issues within the hemisphere. I sit on the board of ParlAmericas, and we have Senator Brittany Galvez, who is a first vice president of the Gender Equality Network of ParlAmericas. So here you have the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, we have the Youth Department, we have the ParlAmericas, and we also have the Belize chapter of the Caribbean Women in Leadership program.
Right.
So that's a regional program being funded through Global Affairs of Canada. And in that program, they have been doing what we call the Youth Young Women in Leadership program throughout the Caribbean. So we've had 6 countries already that have had this kind of program, and Belize is going to be the 7th. And so we're very excited about it at the National Assembly, because one of the challenge we believe in Belize that we are confronted with as women in terms of having more women in parliament is that we don't see much women in parliament.
Stepping up, but is that because this is something that I had discussed before and thought through. And because we talk about women's equality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would like to see, because we do have really brilliant, bright, sharp, educated, I would almost tempted to say, probably more than men, because women are drivers.
Yeah, but absolutely.
No. It is, but as we speak though, if you look at the educational institutions, where do you find the valedictorians in any given institution, educational institution? And most of the valedictorians would be women.
And I think that's why this is so important, this project that we're doing, because if you look at Belize, for example, we only have 9 or 19.5% of our parliamentarians are women.
Right.
When you look at countries, for example, like Rwanda, 61% of their parliamentarians are women. And so you quite rightly said it, that you have, to a large extent within the education system, you see women performing and performing well.
Absolutely.
But how do we transition that performance into parliament and into leadership roles? In Belize, like I've said before, we consistently have a low number of women in parliament. And one of the things we strongly agree from the Women's Parliamentary Caucus is that if you can't see, then you can't be. And it was Marianne Edelman, and I want to quote her specifically, where she said, you can't be what you can't see.
Right.
So if young women are not seeing women in parliament, then they may not be aspirational to be part of parliament.
More role models.
Exactly. And so the whole idea then is that we are doing a program to work with young women, to train young women to build their confidence, their ability to do networking, their ability to do research, their ability to raise their voice, and to elevate their voice, to amplify it, and to say these are the issues that are confronting Belize, these are the issues that affect women, and we want to have a say.
Right.
And so the program, the program is designed in such a way that it is open to young women in Belize, and when we say young women, we say between the ages of 18 and 30, regardless of geography, regardless of whether you're married or not, regardless if you're in school or a housewife, regardless if you have a career, you are the woman we want to see.
And you're looking at, you're not thinking in partisan line either. We're not talking about the UDP, PUP, or whichever P, we're talking about young women.
All young women between the ages of 18 and 30. And we have Eilish with us. And Eilish is from ParlAmericas, and she is the program officer there. So she's with us to explain a little bit more on the program. Are we able to get her on now?
There you are. Yeah. Good morning, Eilish.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to see you, Madam President.
It's great to see you too, Eilish.
So let me share a little bit more about the Young Women in Leadership program, which has already been very well prefaced by Madam President. So this is an initiative, as we've said, that we've hosted across the Caribbean in partnership with Caribbean Women in Leadership and national parliaments. It's really designed to encourage young women to see Parliament as a path forward for themselves. In addition to the underrepresentation we do see, we also have research that shows that young women are less likely to be encouraged to see Parliament as a career path for them. And even then, as women get older and are considering their career paths, it does tend to take a couple of extra times for them being asked to participate in Parliament or to run or seek out a seat. So we are really working to try to address that with this program and building young women's knowledge, networks, and skills to want to pursue parliamentary leadership or public leadership of any kind, but we especially focus on Parliament. And we offer that support through a virtual training program that will cover an introduction to gender equality, transformational leadership, how Parliament functions, how you deliver a parliamentary intervention, the learning more about the women's movement in Belize, and also facilitating exchange with women parliamentarians. We're really delighted to be working with the Women's Parliamentary Caucus on this program. And really, all of this will then culminate in the young women taking part in an all-women parliamentary sitting. So we will be having 60 young women, 60 young women from Belize take part in the program. And in this final parliamentary sitting, which will also be on a gender equality topic, they will hold all of the seats in Parliament, and will get to raise their voice on issues that are important to them, both in a sitting of the House and a sitting of the Senate. So we're really looking forward to having that moment, and it's really been quite a powerful image, quite powerful presentations that come out of those sittings, and we've really seen wonderful impacts for the young women leaders who have taken part in this program, coming out of YWEL, building their networks, getting to interact with, as I said, parliamentarians, experts, other young women who are interested in the issues that they are. We've seen young women leaders run for local government, start or join women's and youth organizations, and have this impact also, the career paths that they choose to follow. So it's really been quite a wonderful program that we've been delivering since 2020, and we are really looking forward to now bringing it to Belize.
We appreciate you engaging, because I think it's very important that we have more women in Parliament. There's a couple of things that I kind of like try to see the big picture of that in having more or a balance of leadership. One of the things that I would want to believe, seeing more women in Parliament. It's no secret, we talk about corruption in government. We hear that politics is dirty business. But being in Parliament, we must deal with these issues, and these are very serious issues. When you talk about empowering women for parliamentarians, have you thought, I'm sure maybe thought through some of these stuff here, and how would you get in as a parliamentarian, as a woman, and deal with, because we have, of course, corruption in government, that it's no secret, right? It's the elephant in the room, but we don't talk about it a whole lot, seemingly, for whatever the reason. We also have domestic abuse, where men are hitting women, that in my opinion is a complete, totally no. That should be criminalized seriously. And again, we had moved to a place where recently we talk about, even if the woman withdraw the charge, the court should still press through with those charges, because there has to be penalties for wrongdoing. And so have you been thinking through, as a woman, because you're president of the Senate, and congratulations on that, and I'm very pleased with that. Are those some of the things that you discuss? Because as Ms. Elliott, she's our vice.
Yes, Eilish is the program officer for ParlAmericas, and like I said, they are the ones who have been coordinating through the Caribbean Women in Leadership program throughout the Caribbean in terms of women empowerment. But you've raised quite a number of issues which also brings into sharp focus, or which underscores also why women need to be, more women needs to be in Parliament. I can say to you that, and I've mentioned earlier, that the very purpose, raison d'etre, of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus is to deal with issues that affect women. And clearly domestic violence has been one of the most serious issues that have been affecting women, and is still affecting women. I can say recently, for example, the Women Parliamentary Caucus held an urgent meeting, and part of that meeting we invited members from varying organizations to come in to have a very open and frank discussion on issues of gender-based violence, and how the caucus can strategically and purposefully find ways in which it can intervene as women. So that is why it is so very important. Why it's so very important for women, because what you noted is that immediately the matter escalated women thought it was urgent and brought it into the forefront. And so we'll be hearing more from the Women's Political Caucus on this. But brings us back to the other point of whereby, yes, there has been quite considerable articles, dialogue, conversations on issues of corruption and mismanagement.
Right. Too much, right?
I think absolutely, and I do believe that the information is out there, the wealth of knowledge is out there that clearly shows that where women are in leadership positions, where women are involved in decision making, that decision making to a large extent is very purposeful, very strategic. I'm not saying it's not the same for men,
right?
But very purposeful, very strategic, and oftentimes look at the things, as we've just seen with the gender-based violence, look at some of the issues that may not necessarily be high on the radar for men.
Or taking it
but
serious enough,
what
right?
is also important, and I think you brought it up a bit early, is that we have to look at differentiated needs of both women and needs of men. And I think currently, because the parliament and in other spaces, women are not necessarily at the decision-making level in parity.
Yeah.
So that is what we are moving towards, to start seeing a parliament where you see more women.
We will have a balance in that house.
A balance in the house,
Yes.
where men can speak on the issues that what they see as important to nation building, and women can also speak on the issues and elevate those issues that they feel are important to women in nation building. And I do believe a program like Why Will I Think, if you heard from what Eilish said, and if I can speak a little back to it, she made mention of the training that we are looking at. And training, let me say this, that there will be two kinds of training. There is the training that is going to be virtual, and there's going to be training that is going to be face-to-face. And we look at things like introduction to gender equality. What does that mean, and how does that translate into addressing issues that are important and relevant to women? Transformational leadership. The kind of leadership that comes with a purpose. If we look at, for example, leadership, former women leaders in Belize, and I will always cite Madam Liz, Gwendolyn Lizaraga. When she came in, her key issue was about empowerment of women. And so what you then saw were women who began to access property. Before that, property was mostly owned by men. And when you have family problems, women are evicted out of those spaces because the title or the ownership lies in men. So one of her first projects, for example, was the local issue of property and ensuring women had property ownership. That's a security of tenure. Then you have education. That was a very important sector for her, because in her view, education is the bridge to a better quality of life. All the statistics and knowledge, wealth of knowledge that is out there will show that persons who are more highly educated are more highly remunerated.
Right.
So the more education you have, the reality is that you get higher salaries compared to persons, say, just graduating out of private school or so. So what did she do at that time? It was mostly only the children of the rich were going to secondary school.
That's right.
That was how we had at that time junior secondary number 1,
That's
junior secondary
right.
number 2,
That's right.
and I can go on and on.
But that's
and
only
on.
in Belize City, of course, right?
And when you look at her work throughout the country in terms of issues of scholarship. For people, when you look at issues, for example, she was part of the decision making when it came to Belize and getting involved in the Caribbean examination.
Yes.
And so I can go on and on. But the point I want to make and to underscore is this, that when you have women who come with a purpose, who come to politics, which clearly with a sense of these are the things that we're going to do.
Right.
For her, it was women empowerment because she saw how empowering women created a better environment for families. And as I think it was Senator Chanona, who is the chair of the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, who said, when women rise, communities thrive. Mm-hmm. And so that becomes very important. So it's understanding, for example, what does transformational leadership mean?
Right.
It's not about leadership I lead, but it's leadership that moves towards transforming communities and transforming countries so that we can all achieve this better quality of life, which is embedded in our Constitution.
Sure.
So we look at things like Parliament and parliamentary procedures. If I am a member of Parliament, how does it work? How does it function? Right. How do you bring your voice and the issue to Parliament? So we understand the legislative process, the committee processes, and so on and so forth. So it is this kind of training that then leads to a parliamentary practice session. Recently we had the Children's Parliament. Excellent.
Stuff like that was beautiful. Eh?
Wonderful. And we saw how young people, their issues and their thought processes and how they felt about a particular issue. And it is the same with young women. So we're looking, as I've said, for women between the ages of 18 and 30.
Yeah.
Political party doesn't matter.
Right.
The age, we've set the age. Geographic region doesn't matter because we will make provisions, whether it's through the virtual programming, which is the things like access to data and so, as well as in-person sessions. There is no cost whatsoever to the participant. Ethnicity doesn't matter. Marital status doesn't matter.
Economical status?
Economical status doesn't matter. Even qualifications, educational qualifications, it matters not. The key criteria is that you're a Belizean young woman between the ages of 18 and 30 who have an interest in leadership. And let me also be clear to say that the leadership that we are talking about, while this is geared toward political leadership, it's also about leadership in your communities, leadership in your churches,
That's right.
leadership in the NGO community, because it's about having a passion.
Right.
You're looking at things that are happening in Belize, whether it's gender-based violence, whether it's poverty, whether it is not the parity in terms of women in parliament, whether it is issues surrounding, as you quite rightly said earlier, issues that men may be left behind in a process. Whatever those issues are, is it people's accessibility to health care, people's accessibility to affordable housing, regardless of what that issue, we are creating this space where you can have a conversation and bring your voice and your issue to that space, creating the networking, creating the mentoring, creating the capacity building, so that when you raise your voice with purpose and strategic intent.
We have Eilish also with us, right?
Yes.
Eilish, we're talking about raising up women and we're talking about parliamentarian women, but what is it, how would you say what is your big vision of the approach of getting parliamentarian young women in leadership? What is it that you guys are planning on that?
So in terms of support after the program as well, do you mean?
When we talk about young women in leadership or women in leadership on a whole, some of the things we have been discussing, I think maybe two major issues. One of them would be parliamentarian women, and domestic abuse with women. When you approach these two, how you bring a strategy as you meet and you convene with women? What's the strategy there, the direction because we're talking about transformation, that's one of the language we use, transformational leadership. What's some of the stuff you're looking at to bring those kinds of changes?
What a good question. So I will speak a little bit more broadly also about ParlAmericas. So we're the interparliamentary organization of the Americas and the Caribbean. And one of the core issues we work on is gender equality through the parliamentary networks that Madam President spoke about earlier. So the Young Women in Leadership program is one component of that, where we're really looking to make sure that young women have this exposure to Parliament, think about it as a future career path, but also having Parliament be a space that they see as somewhere that they can advocate now. So understanding these opportunities for citizen engagement, partnering with organizations like the Women's Parliamentary Caucus. As Madam President spoke about, they work very responsively to the issues that are brought forward by the public, recognizing what's happening in their everyday lives. So it's about, yes, women seeing this as a place for the future, but also seeing Parliament now as a space where young women's voices are heard and elevated and taken into consideration in decision making at the moment, so that it's really a continuous process, that it's somewhere where gender equality is being seen as this holistic approach, and you're seeing the transformations both take place now through the kinds of work that the Parliament is doing, including through the Women's Parliamentary Caucus, and also a space where women continue to see themselves working at some of those challenges that you mentioned earlier, that you can face when you're looking to get into leadership, because we also know that culture can change. So having this knowledge about Parliament, having knowledge about transformational leadership for all leaders, current leaders, future leaders, is a really nice way to make sure that these transformations are happening very on an ongoing basis, knowing that it also benefits Parliament's work and making sure that it is responsive to the public, which is, of course, we know a priority for parliamentarians already. And we really have seen the parliaments themselves benefit and enjoy hosting this program and the opportunity to hear from young women leaders. So I think it is, this program is one part of it, but the bigger connection is also happening through work the Parliament is doing now, and the ways that they're really showing through the hosting of this initiative and the Children's Parliament and the other work that the Women's Caucus is doing, that this is something that's important to them to now, and making sure that decision making is really responsive to the needs of all members of the population and what their different needs are.
And Madam President, we'll take a break. We got to, get some bills paid. But when we come back, because we're talking about the empowering a woman and so forth, I have a good one. I think that we could jump into a little bit and address a little bit that you may be interested in discussing a little bit while we talk about this women leadership. Absolutely. So we got to take a quick break. When we come back, you don't want to go away, because this should be very interesting for you, woman or men, because man go for a woman and men go together. So we don't separate. However, we're talking about women in leadership, and so we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go?
When working with sheetrock, you need screws that give you quick penetration for a speedy, stable installation. Best Screws, fast frame and fast finish drywall screws, are specifically designed for you. Engineered by Best Manufacturing, Best Screws makes every job faster and easier. These screws offer reliable performance with a superior hold. You also save money due to Best Screws affordability. They are cheaper than the leading brands. Get the job done quickly without compromising on strength. For all your drywall installations, get Best Screws Fast Frame and Fast Finish. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Belize City, get ready for a safe and reliable e-taxi experience like never before. Building on the success of our e-ride bus service, we've heard your feedback, Belize City. We've seen your enthusiasm and how eagerly you've embraced zero-emission transportation in our community. Introducing the E-Ride Taxi, an electric taxi service, bringing you a cleaner, greener way to travel around our beautiful city. As part of the transformative Belize City E-Ride program, this new service is another step toward modernizing our transportation system for a sustainable future. Looking to book your first E-Ride taxi? It's super easy. First, download the Medriva app and register. Then, book your ride. Insert your pickup and drop-off location. Select E-Ride, choose the number of occupants, and pick your preferred payment method. Confirm your ride and track your E-Ride in real time as it makes its way to you. It's fast, eco-friendly, and designed for your comfort. So don't wait. Download Medriva today and let's drive Belize City towards a brighter, greener future, one E-Ride at a time. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Pletz Home Builders is the largest house building company in Belize. Pletz combines the best skilled workers, high-grade materials, and the latest technology to produce the highest quality wooden residential structures. Request any size, color, and the home layout you want. Choose from hardwood or painted metal outer walls. Pletz can modify any of their existing house plans to your satisfaction, complete with all the installation services you need anywhere in the country, including ambergris key. They can also lift your house to your desired height up to 9 feet. From properly treated and cured lumber to quality sidings and floorings, let Pletz Home Builders give your home the finish you need. For prices or questions, call 823-0398 or go to www.pletzhomebuilders.com. Pletz Home Builders, we build to suit your needs.
Oh, I wasn't having a bad day. I just needed...
It's here, the biggest sale of the year. Find your happy place at Builders Hardware with our happy sale from October 15th to December 31st. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, we got unbeatable prices that will put a big smile on your face. Freshen up your walls with 20% off all paints and 25% off paint supplies. Upgrade your space with 25% off lights, fans, AC, and a wide selection of tiles to match your style. Plus, enjoy 30 to 50% off selective items. But that's not all. We also sell sand and gravel, blocks, roofing, and more. Find everything you need from construction start to finish. Don't miss out on our happy deals. Shop today or explore our online store at shopbuildersbz.com. Visit Builders Hardware in Belmopan. This is your happy place.
It is truly an honor to join everyone here today for the final forum of the Engaging Men and Boys to Advance Gender Equality and Help Prevent Gender-Based Violence project.
And so I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the office of this special envoy in including males in this conversation of domestic violence. Because often we know that this has been a taboo subject. We don't want to discuss it publicly. But I think that with the work that is going on through the Office of the Special Envoy, we have to debate it, we have to give it the public discourse that it so requires.
We are here because we must confront hard truths. Domestic violence is rampant in our communities, and it must end. Attitudes can change, that cultural traditions that are harmful can change. We don't have to stick to them because they were passed on to us.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave my home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea. sweet Belize, land of the Isles and Keys, land of the...
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. This morning we are talking to the President of the Senate, Ms. Carolyn Sandiford, and we're talking about women and empowering women and why will young women in leadership. And of course we have with us also on Zoom Eilish, Elliott, and talking about some issues that could transform, and I believe not, should I say will transform, because I want to be optimistic, in our region, not just Belize, but in our region. It is already happening. We have several female prime ministers in the Caribbean region, and of course we talk about having in Mexico president, unprecedented, and so we see these shifts taking place. However, we want to focus on home. We got to fix things home, and Madam President, I am optimistic.
Of course we have to be, and I have no doubt that the Why Will program will excite and inspire our young people. I feel very confident about that. I do believe that it's a stepping stone. The Chinese say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Well, we do believe that this is a step because, as I've said before, we've never had a significant amount of women in Parliament in one time. I want to do, you spoke earlier about the region, so Eilish have mentioned that there is this program within the entire region, and it's the Caribbean Women in Leadership program, of which the Young Women in Leadership is a subcategory of that particular program. But if we can look at the Caribbean region, we have seen where we have seen women prime ministers. So it's not that it is rare. It is not there, but it's rare and infrequent, if I can say that. We have currently, of course, Barbados, whose prime minister is Mia Mottley. We've had Jamaica. Jamaica has had Portia Simpson. Trinidad and Tobago currently have Kamala Prasad.
She seems to be a nice leader. I like her.
We had Dominica, Eugenia Charles in Dominica. So it has happened.
And of course, Mexico.
Yes, and we have our neighbor Mexico right beside us. When we look at Guyana, for example, 39.4% of their parliamentarians are women. When we look at Jamaica, it's 27.4%. Belize stands at 19%.
Yeah.
And so the push here is for parity. The push is to say that when we have more women in Parliament, we can start addressing some of the issues, as we continue to point out, that are very important to women. And oftentimes you'll find the issues, as well as being important to women, come with a different lens, a different perspective.
Right.
I always remember, and I use this as an example, that when I used to work at the Ministry of Housing and Planning Department, and you would hear conversations within that ministry and from people who were interacting with that ministry. A man speaks of a house, I want to build a house. But a woman speaks of a home.
Yeah.
And they are two different things.
That's right.
So it is that coming together, that balancing to ensure that it's not just the house we talk about, but we are also talking about the home, which is a place where you nurture children, where you raise your children. And we talked earlier outside of the session of the live about elements and issues that may serve as barriers to women entering politics. I want to share also that it's barriers, and yes, we do have barriers, and there's a wealth of knowledge that shows simple things like a woman being the primary caregiver in a home. So you're a primary caregiver, you work. And then that primary caregiver sometimes not only extend to your immediate your children, but it can be to an elderly parent. Right. And that's another area where I find we have been neglecting in Belize somewhat, because there's quite a number women, particularly young women that I know, have had to take on the responsibility of being a caregiver for an elderly parent. So when you have all these things that you are concerned with, it limits your time that you may have to say, be as engaged as you would want to be in community life. And oftentimes the politics starts rooted in that.
That's right.
In community, you look at your community and you would want to see your streets paved better. And it's not, you would want to see better housing, you want to see more spaces for your children to play, you want to see better access to leisure recreation, to your faith-based institutions. So you look at these things and you see certain challenges to delivering those, and so you start thinking about politics and how could I get involved. There's a lot of women in Belize that are involved at the village council level. In fact, I recall, and I hope I'm correct here, that there is one particular village council that have all women. Right. And I think it's Rancho Dolores?
Rancho Dolores.
Yes, I think, right. Yeah. So we see women a lot becoming involved at the village council level and even moving into the municipal. Yeah. But when it reached the National Assembly, that is part of where we are seeing these clear barriers.
We need to see those shifts as well.
Right, and so we felt that the Wild Will program could be a great platform to initiate that conversation, that dialogue of what it requires for us to see more women in Parliament and for us to see a Parliament. Yes. Because go back to what I say, you can't be what you can't see.
Exactly.
So you will not aspire to be somebody or to aspire for a career if you're not seeing people like you in that career, or if you may not necessarily be seeing the things that are being discussed connecting to you.
Right.
So that then becomes very important. Now there are strategies where other countries have used. I have mentioned, for example, like you have Rwanda, which is some 62% or so on. There are countries that use strategies like quota systems. So they ensure that their constitutional provisions having it a requirement that you should have a minimum, that you should have at least or a minimum of 33% of your parliament being women.
Right.
You have, and so in those cases, there's particular spaces that are selected that must have women running.
Right.
You have countries that have adopted proportional representation system where you do lists. So it's not a person for a particular constituency or the first past the post system that we are used to. And so what happens, you have a list, and within that list, it creates more spaces for women to be on that list. So you have that again, like I said, proportional representation. And then one also have to take in mind sometimes the political environments of countries whereby from a cultural standpoint, women are in some ways very dependent on men for their survival, and so that limits their ability to be independent in terms of thinking and career path. Rwanda, for example, it is said that one of the reasons for them having such a high percentage was, if you recall, Rwanda went through a period of war.
Very serious war as well.
And so their population demographics flipped, and you ended up having much more women than men. And so it forced women then to say, you know, we have to take charge, we have to take control, and they started to move into politics because the reality was that the men were absent.
Yeah.
And so I just share all that as to say that it's a big ecosystem that we're working with, but we have felt that looking at a Wild Will Parliament, a parliament that gives young women between the ages of 18 to 30 an opportunity, if they're interested in leadership at the parliamentary level, but also if they're interested in leadership even within their own spaces, where that could be an NGO space or a community space or your faith-based space, you can use this experience to build your capacity to debate, to do networking with individuals and organizations of similar aims and objectives.
Right.
It is said that strength is in numbers.
Right.
So if you're meeting people and you're meeting young women who have the same thoughts and ideas, then collectively you begin to strengthen your voice. And when that voice roars, people will have to listen.
I look at it as teamwork. In
Yes,
life, it's a
absolutely.
teamwork. It's not a one-man show. It's not a one-man band. Let's hear from Eilish, because when we talk parliament, when we talk about empowering a woman, when we talk about partnership, Eilish, are you there with us? What about when we have partnership with the husband and the wife, when we talk parliamentarian?
Yeah.
How will a woman at a certain age that have children, because if you don't have any children, you're a single woman, or you're an older woman that your children are already grown, because we notice some of our leaders within our region are family women, but their children are already grown. How do we encourage a woman that has a career, that have the education, academics, to engage in politics, but then she have like 8-year-old to 12-year-old to 16-year-old kids? Are those in the planning? Eilish, could we maybe hear from you on that?
So I think this goes back to also what Madam President was talking about earlier, and the importance of looking at balancing care work responsibilities, recognizing that often it is women that carry the majority of care work responsibilities in their homes.
That's right.
But we do know that that is changing, and it is a major area of policy progress in our region, certainly, where we're expanding access to paternity leave and strengthening parental leave, and there are even cultural campaigns again that are looking to promote balance in the household between parents or partners in distributing care work in a more balanced manner, so that everybody has that same opportunity to thrive outside of their responsibilities. But as you say, I guess further, parliaments are also looking at this. So we know that there are parliaments across the region that have implemented lactation rooms so that new parents can take care of, those kinds of responsibilities while they're at work. There are childcare facilities or camps that are put in place for holiday seasons, including in Trinidad and Tobago. So it is something I think that it is transforming. But I think, as we've said, it is really important to have those kinds of things in place, because Parliament is the voice of the citizens and represents all of the public. And that's a major component of the population, and also, of course, something then that we would want to hear those perspectives about in Parliament. And it is really why, as Madam President said, we do strive to make sure that we have a very diverse cohort in this program, based on geographical balance, based on educational balance, educational background, age. All of those kinds of factors are very important for us, because one, it makes sure that our program looks like the population of Belize, and two, because it really allows us to then hear from young women and make sure that of diverse backgrounds, and make sure that also this is an opportunity for them to build their networks, to raise their voices in Parliament on the issues that are important to them, and for really us to, we always take away, I speak from ParlAmericas perspective also, we always take away so much learning from these programs ourselves that then inform what we do in other programs, in addition to, as I've said, I know other parliaments have had motions come forward or have had issues talked about for the first time in Parliament based on one of these sittings. So I do think that diversity dimension is really critical for the program, and I think, as Madam President was saying too, it's a really interesting opportunity to also talk about how we can promote balances in care work and remuneration and recognition for care work, both as a policy issue and also within parliamentary spaces.
Yeah. And then, because you see, the thing is Madam President, we gotta look at maybe educating our people, not just women, but also men.
Absolutely.
Because the men need to understand that if your wife has a certain capacity, listen, my wife, she controls my finances. I mean, she she is better at it.
Yeah, that's her skill set.
She is way better, and I recognize that. And after we first got married, it wasn't very long before I realized my wife is way better than me in dealing with our finance. So guess what? I give her all, a lot of money. Oh, I know I make no woman control my money. I want to spend my own money and some machismo and that kind of thing. And then the next thing is, if my wife busy doing all the other logistics, could I fall in somehow and try help out in the house? With the children, and so that she could do her job and function what in her skills and what she really are good at and could do. So while we empower women, we also have to look at the partnership between the husband and the wife and educate our men as to, look, if your wife has a certain capacity, and a lot of time, and I say a lot of time, there are some women that are more academically sharper than men. Why will we keep trying to beat our chest? Why not let your wife do what she does best and partner with her? And I believe as we continue educating people, Madam Speaker,
education is always very important, and it's a learning process.
It's something very important.
And it's also linked also to cultural changes and cultural expectations, and culture over time evolves as well.
Right.
So when you come out of a culture that is very male dominated, very patriarchal, it takes a while. Yes. But the more we educate, the more we inform, the more we see how more women's involvement. For example, you just highlighted within your own home and your own space, where you all have sort of took a decision to say, you will have certain tasks to do. So you have accepted that that's what your wife is good at,
right,
and your wife has accepted what you're good at. And it's the same thing in any organization.
Partnership, right?
It's about leadership. It's about how we manage the spaces, how we ensure that the people who have the skill set are brought into the forefront to do the job and to engage in the job. But within that, you must also have purpose. So you must have purpose as a family, where is it that you want to see your family in the next 10, 15 years? You have children. Are you intending that your children should move to university? You need to start from now.
Right.
But it's understanding all that, and that is, so everything you do within your home, how you manage your finance, how you raise your kids, the value systems you instill in them.
Right, right.
All of that comes together to have your family meet their goals and vision that you have set. And it's the same thing with managing and running a country. The country has a vision, key objectives that it wants to achieve. How do we create spaces within that for both men and women to recognize what each bring to the table? And let me also say that it is not just about men and women. It's also about, we have to look at things like the issues that relate to persons with disability, because one also has to look at what are the needs of persons with disability, whether they be man, whether they be woman. We have to look at issues surrounding economic status. What are the needs of, say, a single family headed household, whether man or woman, compared to a household that has two persons, two partners.
Yep.
So it's a constant looking at the people that you serve.
Making adjustment continually.
Right, and looking at the people
Yeah.
you serve and assisting and facilitating and creating that environment
Yep.
to meet the goals and the needs and aspirations of those people.
We need
and
to-
half
Yep.
the population of Belize are women.
We need to
So
we need to continue
have
this
more women
discussion,
in
and I
that.
need to have you back here with us. I want to give very quickly a couple seconds to Eilish, so we could wrap up this morning, because we have some other stuff we got to do this morning. And can you give us a quick wrap up word there, Eilish, if you're there?
Yes, I am. Just to thank you again for having me. Thank you, Madam President, for your ongoing leadership. We really look forward to the applications from young women from Belize all across the country between the ages of 18 and 30. Applications close December 19th. The QR code on the banner behind Madam President has all of the information to access the applications, or you can visit ParlAmericas or the National Assembly's social media. But we're also available for any questions through those same platforms, and we're really looking forward to having this program take place early next year. Thank you again.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Madam.
you, Eilish, and I will just reiterate what Eilish said. This is an exciting time for young women who may be interested in political leadership. This is a great opportunity. Applications are now open. It closes December 19th. Again, I keep reiterating, between the ages of 18 to 30, regardless of geography, ethnicity, economic background, whatever, this is an opportunity for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Madam President. It's been a pleasure to have you with us, and hopefully we could get you back again so we could continue the discussion. And in wrapping up here, because we got to go, let me say congratulations to our Belize Queen of Miss Universe, Bella Zabani. I believe, in my opinion, she represented us really well. Why she was in that top 30 at least, I don't know. I can't explain. I'm still kind of a little bit shocked and disappointed, because I thought that she should have been at least in that 30, at least in the 30. Absolutely. But either way, I am not hanging my head down. I think we had a great representation. And while we're talking about the young women empowerment and so forth, her aspirations is to be Prime Minister one day. So, Madam President, absolutely, who knows what will happen? But we will continue this discussion somewhere in the very near future. So with that said, this morning we want to thank you for joining us, and thank you for Madam President for coming here and being with us.
It's my pleasure.
And we pray that you will be very successful in what you do. And so from all of us here, Rise and Shine PlusTV, thank you for joining us. Our technicians in duty, Mr. Gladden and Mr. Amari Jones. From all of us, God bless you. Have a great weekend.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef.